Alright, hi guys, Hi-Fri here. Before we get started, I have a couple things that I want to announce. So I'm going to be doing a giveaway. First off, thank you to everyone who subscribed over the past few months. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. It keeps me encouraged and engaged and keeps me wanting to make videos like this for you guys. So yeah. Second thing is, before I get into announcements, forgive the potato quality camera. I do apologize. If you didn't see the last video, I accidentally broke my camera, and yeah, so I'm using a backup right now. But before we get into this, so the announcement is we hit 3K and I want to do a giveaway for everyone. All right. I haven't announced the details yet. I will have them up soon. So just bear with me. Give me some time. It might be a couple weeks before I have everything finalized, but I will be giving away a couple pairs of IEMs. Okay, I'm gonna do at least two pair. Okay, two pair I'm gonna be giving away. The first pair that I'm going to be giving away to one lucky individual. All right. Now this is worldwide. All right. This isn't limited to the U.S. This is anywhere in the world. I will ship these IEMs to you, but I have to be able to ship them to you. Okay. So in order to be a part of the giveaway, it has to be at least a country that I am able to ship to. If it's a country that I cannot ship to, then I'm sorry, you just can't be a part of the giveaway. But then again, if it's a country I can't ship to, it's probably a country that cannot view these videos anyway. So the first part of the giveaway will be the Anole VX. Yes, I will be giving these away to one lucky individual. You will win yourself a beautiful, fancy pair of Anole VX. Now these are repaired. They're not identical to stock. They're still perfectly functional. They work just fine. They sound fine. They sound great, in fact. But they do have one small issue, and that is pressure buildup. They do not vent like a normal pair of Anole VX. So ideally, you would use them with a pair of foam tips, or you would use them with a pair of tips that are compliant and will allow a little bit of air to escape, okay? But other than that, they are perfectly functional and they're in relatively good condition. So I will be giving away a pair of Anole VX. And what I'll probably do, I haven't decided yet, but I'll probably have, I'll pick a subscriber, someone who, it'll be like a like, comment, subscribe kind of thing. And then I'll do one on Facebook as well. And one person will get the VX, and then I haven't decided yet on the second one, but the second pair will probably be a custom made IEM from me, or I will give away a different pair. I haven't decided on what the second pair will be yet, but yeah, just keep that in mind. So it could either be a DIY IEM that I made myself, or it'll be one of the IEMs that I have either reviewed here on this channel, or it might be just some random IEM. It'll be something nice. It won't be something, you know, I'm not gonna give away crap, but yeah, it's gonna be either something I make, or depending on how much time I have, or it'll be some IEM that I'll send and give away to you guys. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, that'll be soon, probably about a week or so. Just keep your eye out. I'll announce it in a video in the future, and I'll put it in the description. I'll make a post, all that stuff, all that good stuff. So yeah, so tell your friends. If you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. It helps me out. But no, I don't monetize these videos. I haven't made a cent from any of these videos. Just keep that in mind. I've started the monetization process, but I am not monetized in any way whatsoever. But yeah, if you want to win a pair of Enola VX, tell your friends, hit them up, tell them to subscribe, and I will have details shortly on that. Anyway, so to the video. This is the Joyodio Shine. All right, this is a new IEM from a new company, and I have 3 IEMs here. You notice I'll have 3 IEMs up top here. Now you might be asking what these 3 IEMs have in common, and I'm going to go over that shortly, because the deeper you go into this, the more the details kind of reveal themselves, and it's not really a secret who's behind this IM. Okay, now I could be wrong, could be a totally random company, but I have my thoughts. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna review the IM first, give you my impressions, and then after I do that, we're gonna get into some of the more subtle details and the commonalities between these 3 IMs right here, because they all have something very, very strong in common, and we will get to that shortly. So I'm going to take these 2, I'm going to move them off to the side here, and we're going to talk about this little gem right here. This is the Joyodio Shine. This is a 1 dynamic driver, 2 balanced armatures. It's a 7mm dynamic, just a normal PET or Mylar or something. It's just a standard dynamic, and 2 balanced armatures. The 2 balanced armatures are a 29689 for mids and a 30019 for treble. They're not Knowles, they're not Sonyan. They are E-audio equivalent type quality. And the first thing of note that you'll notice here are there are 4 tuning switches. Okay. And we'll get into a little bit of that. So you might ask yourself, well, okay, there are 3 drivers, so why 4 tuning switches? It's a little odd, I know. It's more of a marketing gimmick than anything, because in reality you don't need 4 switches, but there is a purpose for it, and I'll share that in a little bit. So here we have the nozzle. Relatively sleek design. It's a nice design. It's wingless, so for anyone who has issues with wings, there is no wing on it. Fits good. Isolation's pretty good. It's a very hefty boy. The faceplate, actually, it's almost half of the IM is all metal. So this is all metal right here. And then you'll notice same on the side here. So pretty much half or 2/3 of the IM are resin. This is all 3D printed resin, and then the back plate is metal. QDC connection on the front there, and yeah, so those are the IMs. This is how they look. So pretty nice package. The current asking price is $80, and you can get it on Linsole. You can get it on Amazon. I think you can get it on Hi-Fi Go. I'm not 100% sure yet, but pretty much most online retailers you can get this IM right now. So, but yeah, so as far as the fit and finish goes, I have no complaints whatsoever. It's actually a very nice, well-built IM. As far as the shape and dimensions and everything, it's very well engineered. No complaints whatsoever. So let's dive back into the box here real quick, because I have something that will go hand in hand with this review. Alright, so here we have a little tuning chart. Now, I don't know how accurate these are, like these listening presets. I haven't tried these for the different styles of music or whatever, so I couldn't tell you how accurate these are. In most cases, it's whatever tuning you enjoy best, and you just keep that for everything. There's not really a set tuning for a specific type of music or genre or whatever. That's how most people do it. But anyway, yeah, so you have what is it, all up for pop, first 2 down, second 2 up for classical, up, down, down, up for R&B and rock, and then down, 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 up for hi-fi, and down, 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 down for standard. So basically, the way it follows is 1 is for bass, 2, it says high, but that's not what it is. It's not highs. 1 is for bass, 2 is for mids, 3 is for treble, and 4 is interesting. It controls the entire volume of the spectrum except for a little portion in the bass. There's a little portion that is not affected, but basically after like 100 hertz everything else is boosted. And by boosted, what really is happening is you are lowering the sensitivity. So in a design, and I'm going to get into some detail here, so bear with me guys. I know my videos are long-winded, but I have a lot to explain. So in a typical IEM design that has switches, the way the tuning switches work are if a switch is in the on position, something is being bypassed, okay? When the switch is in the off position, there is something in circuit, okay? So if you were to look at it this way, let me hold it up like this so you guys can actually see it. So you have wires, well, we'll just draw components, I guess. Okay, and then we'll just join them up, and then we'll do okay, that's my crappy drawing of a speaker. So when the switches are down, there is something in circuit, okay? So like there's a capacitor or a resistor or both, okay? So normally when the tuning switch is down, there is something that is decreasing the volume. Okay, there's a resistor that decreases the volume, but there's also other like tuning switches. So you can have like a certain value of capacitor in one setting, and then when you turn it on, you can introduce, for example, another component, okay? And so that way, when the switch is in the on position, now you're going through both components. Yeah, so basically the way it works is, yeah, when the switch is down, it's the current is being limited by a resistor, and then when you turn the switch on, it is automatically bypassing that resistor. So naturally it gets louder. So louder, up, quieter, off, or down. All right. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. But yeah, when they're in the down position, the bass or the mids or the treble or the whatever is quieter because it is going through a component that is limiting the volume, and then when it's in the on position, it is actually being bypassed, so it's actually going past that component and out to the speaker or the driver, creating more volume. Okay, so essentially that's how you keep the same on-off function, and that's how you have volume decreased and increased, is by bypassing. So anyway, so yeah, that's kind of a haphazard way of explaining it, but that is essentially how these IEMs work. And let's put that on real quick. Okay, so a little bit about the IEM. Let's talk about the sound, and basically then I guess we'll just get into the technical stuff, because there's really not too much to this video except for just explaining how the IEM works, or how the tuning switches work. In my personal experience, I found the best tuning implementation is, there we go. So the one that I found best, or works best for me, sorry, I'm just trying to find a little thing here, is having the first switch in the on position and all the rest in the down position. Now, these IEMs are not very sensitive. They have a high, they don't have a lot of resistance. They have a lot of, oh shoot, what do you call it? It's not resistance, but anyway, they are like 30 something ohms, but they're not sensitive at all. They have a very low sensitivity. So if you want to make them more sensitive, you can raise the fourth switch and you'll lower the sensitivity a little bit. You'll boost everything in the highs, but and in the mids, but it'll kind of match what's going on in the low end. So if you buy these, I would recommend them in either the all down position, but you do get some issues from that, mainly in just how the driver performance. Things sound kind of compressed and don't really have a natural type of energy to them. Everything's very limited. But yeah, when you put the low in the on position, not only the bass is increased, but the lower mids, and it gives everything just a little bit more life. And then also when you put the fourth switch in the on position, it kind of brings everything else up, and you essentially get more of a normal IEM as far as sensitivity goes, because balanced armatures and dynamic drivers are usually pretty sensitive, especially in IEMs. They're only like 16 ohms or 32 ohms max. You never see anything crazy. So, but with the switches in the down position, these IEMs are not very sensitive. So so basically, if you're the type of person, and like say you do not own any DACs, or you don't own any amps or anything like that, and you just have a cell phone, these might not be for you. So just keep that in mind. Ideally, you would use these with a DAC or a DAP or an amp of some kind, because the more power that you can deliver to these, the better they sound. They are kind of power hungry, and that is because of the crossover implementation and the all the resistors that they're using in the resistor network, and the specific type of resistors too. The resistors that they're using in here, they had to use because of size limitations. I mean, they could have used something different, something better, but there's not much size or not much space in here. And the way these are built, they're built down to a price, so they would be like exorbitantly expensive to build if they were to use larger components, because they'd have to be hand soldered and it would just be a whole mess. So essentially, the drivers that they're, or the components that they're kind of stuck with, are these like smaller, low, what is it called? Not low power, they're low, oh shoot, I can't remember. Anyway, excuse me. But yeah, they're essentially not good components. They don't have a lot of power handling capability, and so they're, anyway, you have to drive a whole shit ton of power into them in order to get relatively usable performance. So anyways, as far as the sound goes, so the sound is not bad. Now keep in mind, these are $80. They have a lot of competition. Okay, there's a lot of competition. The bass is decent. On a level of 1 to 10, I'd give it probably about a 6 or a 7. So the bass has a decent amount of body to it. It's got a decent amount of punch and slam. I wouldn't say it's great, but it's not bad by any means. The mid-range is fair. It's a little on the flat side. It's not very dynamic. The mids are very, very kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but flat, I guess I could say. Not flat as far as like frequency wise go, but they just don't have a lot of energy to them. There's not a lot of punch and slam. They're very kind of compressed, and there's just not a lot of dynamics going on in the mid range. They are smooth, and they do sound pretty good overall, but they're just a little bit mushy. They're a little soft. And then the treble. So the treble is probably the best part on this IEM, but it comes at a trade-off. It's also the most resolving part of this IEM. Unfortunately, there are a couple small issues with the IEM. It's not anything major, but there are a few issues. So the first one being the sensitivity. They are hard to drive. They do require a little bit of power to get them to sound good. But the other one is they have issues with the timbre. So from the bass to the mids to the treble, the timbre is not, it's not cohesive. It's not meshed. It's a little bit jarring. There's definitely gaps in timbre that make it sound a little bit incoherent. And so basically they're not very, it doesn't transition the best. So the bass has a decent dynamic, tight, for the most part, texture to it. Then you have these like very kind of soft, like pillowy, kind of mushy mids. And then when you get to the treble is very sharp and articulate. It's not jagged. But it's got a lot of BA timbre to it. It's very tactile. It's very not wispy. It's not grainy, but basically it's got a lot of BA timbre to it. It doesn't sound bad. It's not harsh, but it is. You can just hear the kind of breakup in the driver. Like you can hear clearly that it's a BA driver and it has a lot of that BA timbre to it. Now, personally, I enjoy it. It is pretty well resolving. It's actually fairly well resolving, but it's not smooth. It's not natural sounding. It's artificial sounding. So just keep that in mind. There are some timbre issues. All in all, the IEM, the tuning's pretty good. The tuning's pretty well balanced, and it's stock. It's got all these crazy tuning modes and stuff, but in its stock configuration, the tuning's pretty well balanced, and has a good sound to it. There are slight hints of honkiness or a little bit of shout here and there, especially in like louder listening volumes. So part of the reason, and we'll get into this in a little bit. I know I'm kind of rambling here and I'm not very well organized in this video, but it's kind of hard for me to get this across. So we have all these different issues with timbre, and there's a whole reason for it. And it mainly has to do with driver quality. And so we'll get into driver quality in a little bit. Now, what I'll say is they did a very good job for what they're given or what they're asking. So they're $80 for the IEMs, okay? Like I said, they're very well built. As far as the packaging goes, and I'm sure you guys have already seen my unboxing video, but like you get decent stuff. The unboxing experience is nice. If anything, I wish they'd probably spend a little less money on the packaging. Just because me, I hate unnecessary packaging. But like the tips are nice quality. They come with star lines by default, and that's actually how the company encourages people to listen to them. But they have these like nice quality tips. You got these TCM tornadoes, and then you got the donuts. People know I don't like the donuts. I'm not sure who does, but I don't. But then you get this nice case. So all these things are of relatively high quality, and are pretty nice for the money. For $80, I wouldn't be disappointed if I were to buy this. The cable it's fair. It's not, it's average. But like I said, you're getting the cable, you're getting a nice case. Overall, it's a nice presentation. You got the little SIM key there for the tuning switches. But yeah, so all in all, it's priced appropriately. But the problem with the IEM is that $80 to $100 segment is so jam-packed full of just amazing IEMs, just killer IEMs. Even the $50 price range right now, there are just some IEMs in the $50 price range that are just beyond words as far as how they perform, you know. And so when you're dealing with that kind of competition, especially being a new company, you know, with a new brand and a new IM, it's got to be hard to compete, you know. And I understand that launching their first product, they weren't sure what kind of tuning to go for, and they didn't come up with their own house tuning. Ideally, what I would have liked to see from them is, you know, an IM that has their own tuning in-house, or one that they consult with the community on and create a tuning for, and do away with the switches, you know. But I can see that this probably had been an issue in the past, people complaining about tuning and stuff. So it's understandable that they went this route because they wanted to appease as many people as possible. You know, if someone likes bass, they have their bass. If somebody likes treble, they got their treble and the mids, you know. And so they left it up to the individual user to choose their own tuning. It's like, you know, choose your adventure storybook. That's basically, this is choose your adventure IM. But yeah, so that's, you know, understandable for their first attempt. But yeah, so I have no complaints about anything as far as build quality, packaging, accessories, all that stuff. That's all fine. Like I said, tuning's pretty much fine for the most part. The only issues that I have, the main two issues, are the timbre. Like I said, going from the bass to the mid to the treble, it's a little bit jarring. It's not that cohesive. And the second issue, which, excuse me, I gotta clear my throat for a second. All right, sorry, I had to take a drink of water there real quick. The second issue, and this is the biggest issue in my opinion, and this is the biggest reason against the biggest thing that's going against this IEM. Okay, like I said, especially with all these IEMs out right now that are like super well tuned. And the issue is imaging and stage and layering and separation. This IEM, unfortunately, like I said, it's got good tuning. It's got average resolution, decent. The resolution in the treble is actually really nice. It's got okay timbre, but the imaging and the stage and everything is just really not great. It's narrow. It's really one-dimensional. There's not very much width at all. I mean, it's like, so it, you know, if the widest image is like right to the edge of the screen here, this is like this. This IM is like that. Okay, there's really not much going on outside of this area right here. If I do recall correctly, you do hear a little bit of 3D for some reason, like stuff in panned like hard left and hard right will sound like it's coming from behind you, which is really strange. But when you're listening to a track, like even, you know, well mixed track or whatever, it's just, everything is just really, really narrow. And there's not much going on there as far as separation between instruments. Everything's really, really tight and like really closed in. Yeah, layering is not bad, but it is, because of the quality of the drivers and the issue with the timbre and the mids, things kind of congeal, and they kind of like, you know, interfere and like just kind of mess with each other. So you get stuff that just kind of like washes, and it's just like a wash of sound. Anything in like the upper mid to treble frequencies are pretty clear and distinct, and are decently well separated. But anything in the mids is just kind of like is just kind of a wash. Same thing with the bass. Bass is not bad. There's, you know, you can pull things apart, and there's a little bit of distinction between instruments there, but when it comes to stuff going on in the mids are really like the weak point here. But yeah, so that is that. And then the layering and the depth, it's just not special. Anything having to do with the imaging is not really special, and that is the number one big killer, or big kicker to this IM. Everything else is decent for the price, and granted, okay, this is me, this is one person. There are people that may really like this IM. There are people that might really like the imaging and might really like the stage, but personally, I don't think it's great. I think there are many IMs that do it much better, but that is just the one issue that I have with the IM. It's just the way that sound is presented, the actual sound field, and the stage and the imaging and layering and all that. It's just not. It's just subpar. But yeah. So anyway, and we'll kind of explain the reason why I think that is. And a lot of it comes down to driver quality. So let's get into the next part of the video here. All right. So what do these three IMs have in common? Let's talk about this for a little bit. There is a design language going on here, a philosophy, if you will. And I wanted to highlight some of the things that I've kind of spotted with the design philosophy here. Okay, so we'll take this one aside. This IM, this is the HM20. Okay, this is a very nice IM, in similar price range to the Shine, but this is a very special IM. It has lots of great qualities to it that I think a lot of people would enjoy. A lot of people might not agree with the tuning. They might not like the tuning, but the technicalities are on a different level. Some of them, not all of them, but this is a very special IM. It has some of the coolest sounding imaging and 3D that I've ever heard on an IM, and has really blown me away in some tracks. So I just want to put that out there. And it's pretty coherent. It's not, it's not the best, but it's a really good IM for the money. So if you're looking for something cool to listen to, especially if you like V-shaped, and you like a little bit of bass and treble, and you just want like a good sounding hybrid, this is a very good hybrid for the money. If you're looking for like stellar bass quality, you're not going to find it in this IM. The bass quality is probably the lowest point for the HM20. But everything else is pretty spectacular. The mids and the treble are really good. Not so much the tuning, but just what they offer as far as the layering and imaging and stuff goes. There's just some kind of magic going on in here that really gets me. So anyway, so that's the HM20. We'll put that off to the side because we're gonna get to this bad boy here in a minute. And then so we're left with this one. This is the ZAS, right? Am I right? ZNA. My bad. So this is the ZNA here. All right. This is a 1DD 1BA hybrid. Now there's only one stupid reason why I brought this IM out, and that is this design language right here. Does that look familiar to you? It should. Let's check out the other side. Okay, oh, actually, it doesn't really look as good or similar on the other side, but this side, it looks very similar. Okay, see that design language? The curves? Like what I'm talking about, if anyone's not catching it, this faceplate here, how it kind of comes down and it's thinner on the bottom portion, and then it extends outward around the connector. It's very similar. So yeah, anyway. And then if you want to bring, actually, if you want to bring the HM20 back into it, you want to compare like the nozzles and stuff. The mesh is somewhat similar. The mesh looks like it's less fine on the shine, and it looks like it's actually finer on the HM20. But yeah, even the resin, the quality of resin is identical. And the nozzle is pretty similar. And they're not identical, but they're close. They're very close. As far as size goes, the HM20 is a tiny boy, packing a whole lot of drivers for how small it is. But yeah, so anyway, but yeah, there's another reason. I'll bring this back, but anyway, this does share some things in common, but I just found that interesting, man. When I saw the design, I was like, wait, I know that shape. I was like, that's the same as the shine. All right, so anyway, let me grab one more thing. All right, you guys ever hear that saying, "Dead men tell no tales"? That's a lie. Because I got a couple dead men right here, and they are very dead. So let's get into this. Ooh, no, that looks bad. Ooh, that's pixelated. Alright, well, I'm going to bring it to you guys because that looks so bad. Alright. And let me maybe bring the brightness down a little bit. Actually, let me bring the brightness back up. Sorry, I'm trying to make this look decent. Yeah, that looks good. Whatever. Screw it. So, we got a dead boy here. Okay, this is the... Oh, screw it. I'll just reach in there. HM20. Okay, this is what's left. So you guys are getting a double whammy here. You're getting an HM20 teardown, and you're getting a shine teardown. I gotta make sure to mention that in the title. So this is the shell for the HM20. Alright. And you'll notice you have your 7mm dynamic driver mouth right there. Nice printed shell. It's the same quality as a lot of the other ones you see. It's very nice resin. This is the same resin you'd see in a Moondrop or a Tanch Gem or whatever. I mean, it's same quality. It's good, very good, high quality resin, high quality lacquer. But yeah, so you have a dual BA there. You have another dual BA here. Actually, no, I think you have quad. Yeah, you have, sorry, 4 BA here, 2 BA here, 1 BA there, and then the DD here. And you can't really see. I gotta get like a flashlight or something, because you can just barely see through the shell. Maybe if I do it this way. Yeah, so you can just make out the tubes when there's nothing in there. But yeah, so that is the shell of the HM20. And yes, all the tubes are real. Everything's real. The drivers are real. But yeah, so that's the shell. And then now let's get into the Joyodio shine. Alright, this one I might have to turn the brightness up a little bit because it looks like it's having trouble seeing it. Alright, so this is the Joyodio shine. Alright, we have a couple different things going on here. Now the HM20 is vented out the back. That's why there is no hole in the shell here anywhere. But the Joyodio shine is not vented out the back. It is vented out the front. And that's why there's a little hole right here, just because it needs somewhere for the air to escape. So that's why that little hole is there. That's not for a driver. That's not for anything else. That's just to vent the pressure. This is where the 7mm dynamic goes. Okay, just a flat cavity, and then right in here, it's kind of maybe a little hard to see, but you have the 2 balanced armatures. You have the larger 29689 right here on this side, and then you have the smaller 30019 on this side, and then you have, so for the dynamic driver, there is a vent for the excess pressure and to vent off some of the bass. And basically there is a tube, and it's kind of hard to show. Let's see if I can show it this way. Sorry guys, I gotta find the best way to show it off. No, not you turd. Alright, so you can just barely make it out, but there is, here's where the dynamic driver goes, and then there's a little Y here. So the dynamic driver goes there and it continues out towards the nozzle, and then it splits off right here. It's like a wishbone. So you have this larger portion right here that goes to the driver, then you have this other little portion here that goes to the dampener, okay? So you see that's where the dampener is. So that's where the excess pressure vents out, but it's like a little Y pipe. You have part of it going to the driver, and then the other part that goes to the vent. But yeah, so that is the HM20 shell. I mean the Joyodio Shine. And if I were to, shoot, I lost it. There we go. So if I were to hold these two up together, that is essentially what they look like. So a little different tuning implementation and different design overall, just slightly. Obviously you're getting more frequencies from the mid-range driver on the HM20, and you're getting less of it on the Shine. This is more of a conventional tuning approach, and this is a very different tuning approach on the HM20. This, when I first saw this IEM announced and I saw how they had routed the tubing, I didn't agree with it, and I thought that it would probably be a poor design. But it's not. The drivers mesh nicely, and that's the thing about tuning an IEM. You never know until you hear it. But yeah, like for instance, these, in all reality, they all do treble, but in the marketing, they list these two as being like mid-high BA, and then this one being the treble BA. But this is the absolute furthest from the nozzle, so it wouldn't make sense putting the treble BA right there. But for whatever reason, it works. It all makes sense, and it makes great noise, makes great sounds. Now, let's get into the drivers, because this is the fascinating part. Actually, you know what? Let me show you the crossover first. All right. Oh, come on, you fucker. You can do it. Focus. All right. So this is the crossover for the Joyodio Shine. This is very hard to show. And if I weren't feeling lazy, I would post pictures up here and actually edit this video, but I'm not going to because I'm feeling lazy. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 resistors on this crossover. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, 9 resistors from the looks of it, and 1, 2, 3, 4 capacitors. Let me just double check that with my own eyes, because I'm looking at it through the camera. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what's going on here. So all these resistors here are all used to control the volume of the drivers, and they're all routed through these 4 switches here on the front. And then you have the individual components for the crossover network. These 2 capacitors might be in parallel. I have no idea. I haven't measured any of this stuff yet. I assume this tiny little capacitor here is probably for the treble BA, and then the mid BA, and then I don't know, maybe the mid BA too. I'm not sure why they would have 2 big capacitors, a medium and a small. This could have been set up for a 4-way design too. I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you. Because you have 1, 2, what is it? Negative. So negative input, positive input, negative output, I assume. Then speaker, and maybe 4 other drivers. I'm not sure. I'll have to look at this a little bit closer. It's really hard because this is so tiny, man. This thing is like absolutely minuscule. With all the switches, they really did a wonder with this crossover. Now, I think where they went wrong is I think they used resistors that are just too small. These don't have any current handling. That's what I meant to say earlier, is current handling. I mean, these things are just absolutely minuscule, and that's why you need to really drive them hard. And you're actually losing a lot of power through heat, because they just don't have a lot of current handling. They have these big old capacitors which can handle quite a bit of power, but the resistors, they're like, I don't know, maybe an 1/8 of a watt, 1/16 of a watt, like something stupid small. Maybe smaller than that. I have no idea. They're absolutely tiny, so they can't handle any power whatsoever. But yeah, I think that's where they went wrong. I think they needed to use more of them in parallel. And I'm not sure how many of these are in parallel. I assume a couple, but I think they could have added more, or they could have created an LPAD, because I doubt any of these are set up in LPAD. And for anybody that doesn't know what LPAD is where you have a resistor in series and a resistor in parallel, and that is what you use to bleed off some of the excess current going to the driver, and it essentially lowers the volume, but without sacrificing quality or affecting the impedance curve of the driver. And that is the proper way to do it. But just adding a resistor in series is not. But that is what you most commonly see, just because it's less components, and the effect is negligible at lower resistance values. But once you start getting up into, like, 30 plus ohms, it starts to really have a negative effect on the tuning of the IEMs. It's kind of hard to explain. I've encountered it many times tuning my IEMs. Personally, I have a rule never to use anything more than 20 ohms on a driver, but that is not a hard and fast rule. Because I see plenty of drivers using a 100 ohm resistor on the dynamic drivers. But I only see them on the dynamic drivers. I don't ever see them on anything else. So all right. So we got a few drivers here. The first one, and the most obvious, is this 7mm driver here. Okay. Nothing special about it. Doesn't really stand out, but it's a decent looking driver. Looks nice. But this is the 7mm XUN or XUN driver. Okay, and this is from the HM20. Now this is the HM20's crossover board here, and we'll just take a look at it quickly. And there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 resistors on here, and I believe most of them are paralleled. And then you have 2 capacitors. You have one right here, and then you have one up towards the top there, the one that's vertical, as opposed to all the resistors that are horizontal. So anyway, so this is the crossover or the frequency divider for the HM20. But here, this is the most interesting part. This is the dynamic driver, okay? And that is for the HM20. Now, let's pull out the one for the Joyodio Shine. Oh, what? Wait, what is that? Wait, what? Am I got double vision? Do those not look identical to you guys? Okay, let's look at the top. Top is the same. The front, sorry, I'm trying to keep them in focus. The front are the same, and they're trying to move on me because the magnetic field is actually pretty strong on these drivers. And then the backs, these are identical drivers. Now, the Joyodio Shine driver is using a different dampener on the back, but the KZ, the HM20 driver, is pretty much the same. I mean, they're both identical in every way. The PCB is identical. It's got the same line, diagonal line there. Same on that one. It's just kind of hiding behind this red wire here. But yeah, so you got the same like little mark in the PCB there. Okay, same PCB, same little crossover network. They're not actually using these. Both of these IEMs are not using them, but there's a little crossover there, or a little frequency divider on each one. That's how they come out of the factory. That's just for like if you were to do a simple hybrid setup, because these are the same drivers that are used in KZ's TWS IEMs. Look at that. So this is from the old KZ-S2 TWS IEMs. Now it's using a different glue, different color glue, but we have the same exact PCB on the back. Okay, same line down the edge. All right, they're not different. They're the same. Now the diaphragm material may be improved, the magnet structure may be improved, but in my opinion, these are all three of the same dynamic drivers. The face has changed slightly, so they closed in the hole a little bit more. You see both of these are a little bit smaller than on the older driver, because this is about 2 years old now, and these are much newer. But yeah, so that is something very interesting that I noticed. Now we have, this is the 30019, okay? This is the treble BA, and this is just a cheap, simple little e-audio BA. It's not a bad BA by any means. You could actually create a really nice IEM using these BA for the treble. It's not going to be smooth, but it'll actually be very analytical and actually quite highly resolving. So you could make sort of a flagship IEM using these. It won't be 100% flagship sound, but it'll be close. And then we have this, and this is the unfortunate part. So this is the 29689-002. This is, I believe, from E-Audio as well, or A-Audio, one of those. But this is the 02, which has this green PCB on the back and the little, like this little vent hole portion, whatever that is. It's only a 2-terminal. Well, they're all 2-terminal, but this has that little unpopulated pad in the middle, and then that little hole right there. I do not care for these very much. They're okay, they get the job done, and in some IEMs they actually sound very good. But I prefer the 000 or the 000 better than the 002. The 000 is what I use in my IEMs. The 002 is what KZ uses, and TRN and all those. So this is the exact same BA that you would find in a KZ or a TRN. You know, any kind of like budget IEM. That's what you'll see this BA in. So there are many IEMs that use this type of BA here. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not bad, but it's just not the best quality. And yeah, it's just a cheap. You can, these are very, very cheap. So then let's get into the KZBA, because this is I mean, we're already here, so we might as well. So this is the HM20 BA. Now these are the 50024S. Okay, there's 4 of them in this bin here. Now I haven't tested these compared to the other like e-audio BAs. They definitely look nicer. This is the black gold or whatever they call them. They have a much different finish. They actually look a lot higher quality in appearance, but when you tear them down internally, they look pretty similar. But yeah, these are both made by the same company, but they look completely different. There's like a shiny like mirror finish to the 50024s, and there's kind of like a hazy matte kind of finish to the 30019, and that's just because they're not like special in any way. These are actual special like KZ branded BA that they have made specifically for them. I've never seen these in any other IEM, but yeah. So there's your 4 spouts there, and eventually I'll get to testing these because I have both versions, the black gold and the regular, and I would love to see what the differences are. So far, the only difference that I can really find with them is the impedance, or the coils are different in the black gold. They have much higher resistance. They have like a higher internal resistance than the typical BA. And that is, I think, because they group so many of them together, and they group them all together in parallel. Plus, they buy so many of them. They just went to the company and said, "Hey, can you like make these a little bit different?" And and you'll be our supplier. So, but anyway, yeah. So these are special custom KZ custom BA, and they really are. I believe they really are customized. I don't think that's a lie. I mean, they are obviously customized on the outside, but as far as the inside goes too, I think they are a little bit customized. Yeah. So this is another. Is this another 50024? Yeah, it's another 50024. And then, last but not least, let me just pull out this one last BA here. This one's kind of damaged. But this one, I should be a 30019. Yeah, so this is the new one. This is the 30019S. And this is that little treble BA. Same treble BA that's being used in the Joyodio Shine, except this is KZ's specific branded one. And if you want more proof that they are different, you can see there that their appearance is very different. So anyway, yeah, I'd be very curious to compare these two. I think this one is too damaged to use. In fact, I could actually tell you right now if it is or not. Yeah, this is going to be too damaged. I won't be able to use it. But anyway, yeah, this is the KZ 30019, and this is the Joyodio 30019. And the thing about the 30019 that kind of sets it apart from a 30095 is pretty much just that it has no spout. It actually comes from the factory without a spout on the front, because it's made for IEMs like this, where it's just kind of pushed into a shell. And they say, KZ says that the quality is actually better than a 30095, but I have yet to determine if that's true. Right now, I would just probably take their word on it, but I have no idea until I actually test them out. Eventually, I'll get to that. I have so many ideas and stuff that I just kind of put things like, I forget about stuff, and then I get back to it. I'm like, hey, yeah, I should test that. That would be interesting. But yeah, so anyway, that's what that is. So those are all the drivers. But anyway, so the key conclusion here is that I think, and I don't want to say it directly, but I think these two IEMs are very much related. I think they may be from the same company, and I think that company is trying to branch out into new new things. And I think they're doing a good job so far. But I think they need a little bit of guidance with their next product, because when you're getting into the high end audiophile market, and you're not trying to, because KZ has always been a budget brand. KZ's always been known as a good introductory budget IEM company that makes with great sound, but they've never broken apart from that. They've always served that market very well, and I think because I've been not touting it, but I've been like emphasizing it, that I would love to see at some point, I would love to see KZ come out with a flagship brand and have high quality IEMs, and they can charge like regular price for them. But I just want to see something nice from KZ, and know that it's their product, and that they actually put like time and attention and effort into it, and really gave it like their all, and gave it like as much of their tuning prowess as possible. But yeah, so I don't know if they're related, but that is my somewhat educated guess. I haven't been told directly. No one's told me directly, but the only advice that I could give for Joyodio, because I think they did good. I think they did good on this one, but I think there's a couple missteps, and I think the biggest misstep of the IEM are the quality of drivers. I think they need to step back and rethink how they're going to build their next IEM, and I think they need to approach it from a different angle, and either develop new drivers or find another supplier for those drivers. Or if they want to continue using the same drivers that KZ uses and other companies use, that's fine, but they're going to need to find a tuning implementation that really brings out the true potential in those IEMs, or they're going to have to stick with a tuning method that appeals to more what do you call it? More discerning audiophiles, because this isn't going to cut it for the more discerning crowd. For people that are new to the hobby, they're going to like it, but for people that have been around for a while and have heard a lot, that every other company has had to offer, there's not much that stands out that makes it unique. And I think that's the biggest problem that we're facing with IEM companies today, especially in the world of Hi-Fi. I think there's not enough that makes Hi-Fi companies stand out from one another. I think a couple companies that are doing it real well right now, I think Truthier is killing it. I think Canera is killing it. Canera's had several like killer releases, and everything's been different. And I've kind of helped them out a little bit with that. I'm not like tooting my own horn, but what I'm saying by that is like they've actually reached out to the people in the community, and they've gotten feedback before their releases. Like they've sent me IEMs that will never be seen. Like no one will ever own them, and they're like prototypes. They've sent me IEMs that still have yet to be seen. And actually, I feel really bad because they messaged me a few days ago and I still haven't messaged them back. But I don't know. I'm really bad about messaging people. But anyway, but they've been seeking feedback, and they've been working directly with the community to make a better product, and it shows. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Just take it, and I don't think any reviewer is trying to be nice because they know that I had some involvement with it. I genuinely think that when you reach out to the community and you seek their feedback, especially people that you feel are trustworthy, they're not going to lead you astray. They're not going to lead you down the wrong path, because there are some people that just have been around it long enough that they know what is going to be a surefire hit. And and I think the other direction that IM companies have been going with all these like collaborations and stuff, I think that's starting to burn out a little bit again. People are always going to buy the collabs just because they like the collaborator, so I don't think that's ever going to die. But I think the the benefit from it is dwindling. It's what do you call it? It's just like in the world of IEMs where you buy a cheap IEM and it has such performance, and then it just keeps dwindling as you go along. So you buy a flagship and it's just, the returns just aren't there. It's not as great the further that you go. So I think that's starting to lose a little bit of steam. I could be wrong. I guess it just depends on what companies have to show us. But there's just so many IMs released every single day. I'm telling you guys, the Chinese are relentless, bro. I love them for that, but man alive, I mean, they are freaking industrious people, and they just pump out tons of stuff. And granted, I have nothing bad to say. I would love to be in China and like maybe not necessarily live there, but I would love to go visit and like talk to the people that make this stuff and get to know them and check out the factories and the equipment they use. Like that would be like my dream to do that one day, and just like really get to meet the people that make this stuff. Because I'll tell you what, it is their job, and some of it is like soulless, lifeless, boring. It's just business, it's just doing business. But there are some people in this hobby that really do enjoy it, and they know how to run a good business, and they know how to make a good product, and they have good ears. There are some engineers out there that they don't get enough credit, man, and I understand what it's like if they come out with something and then it doesn't get received positively. Like, it now with the Chinese, there's a whole culture of face, so they're never gonna like let it get to them. It's just like, okay, whatever, man, like fuck it, I'm gonna make the next one then. But like all that effort and hard work and stuff, like it really does need to be appreciated, especially when they do something good. And there's been a lot of good happening, so I would just like to see a little bit of the same happen for KZ. I know they get a lot of hate sometimes, but I have a lot of good feelings towards KZ, even though they do some stuff that I don't like. There's they're still a company, but they're that every man's like first IM company, and they think what you will. I mean, I don't know how many people agree with me on this, but there are so many other budget companies that KZ just trounces all over. They release so many IMs. It's just like one after another after another after another. But I've never seen one that's just like, oh, that's total garbage. Like, it's like, oh yeah, that's decent. Oh, that's good. And then every now and then again, they come across something. They work some magic, and it's just like, holy cow. I just made a post, and I know this video is long, so I'll end it here. But I just made a post earlier tonight about the PR1 Pro. These things are amazing. They are absolutely amazing for the price. And these are, by every account, and I've talked to a few people overseas that have told me that these are completely engineered in-house by KZ, by their driver team. This is not a standard size. This is a 13.2. Every other one that you see is a 14.2, 14.5, 14 point blah, blah, blah. But this is their own planar driver. And I'll tell you what, man, like they nailed it. It took them some time. There are a couple revisions of the shell, and there's a couple things where I'm not quite sure they made many changes, if any, to a couple units. But like, these are amazing, and they don't get enough recognition. And same thing with the HM20. Like, the HM20 is a fantastic IM, and So anyway, so I do have a lot of love for the brand, and I would just like to see good things from them. And if they are venturing out into new territory, all I can say is that I wish them the best. But I would advise them to reach out to the community and talk to people, and just find a couple people that they trust, people that aren't gonna leak their prototypes, and people that aren't gonna like give them negative feedback or feedback that caters to their own taste. Because I'll tell you what, when Canara reached out to me and they were like, "Is this IM good? Is this IM is this good? Is this bad?" I didn't approach it with like, "Oh, I would like more of this," or I would like. I thought about it like, okay, this would appeal to this kind of person, and this would appeal to this kind of person, and kind of went with that. They showed me a graph, and I was like, yeah, like that's not my personal taste, but that is going to, XYZ person is going to really love this, and that's the kind of like relationship that we've had, and so if they could find somebody like that, I would be willing to help them out if they wanted the help. um but yeah, but anyway, so if they can find somebody like that, or if they can somehow reach out to the community, share graphs and be like, hey, does this look good, does this look good, what do you think? That might be a little too much, because there's some people that are like, no, it looks like garbage, and oh, it looks great, and then that can get confusing real fast. But I mean, I think that they could do good things, and I know I'm getting very, very rambly now, but I'll just leave it at that. The Joyodio Shine, is it a winner? It's okay. It's good. It's got its strengths. It's got its weaknesses. I think it's worth the money, but only if you're willing to spend the money. If you're the type of person that wants to maximize their bang for buck, and you want the absolute best thing out there, and you don't want to settle for second best, then I wouldn't. I would look somewhere else. My top two picks, and this should be no secret right now. One is a little bit outside the price. You know what? Actually, no. Screw it. I actually have two picks that are inside the price range and directly competitive. So my first pick in the same price range, if you don't want to settle for second best, is the PR1 Pro. You cannot go wrong with these. If you do not own a planar, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you buy a pair. If you're not into those, you could always try Hexa. I'm not too big on those, but I do like them. And my other big pick, so for planar, PR1 all the way. For dynamic, go with the Olina SE. The Olina SE is not going to steer you wrong. It is a phenomenal IEM for the money. It's killer, epic IEM for the money. And then if you're looking for fun, maybe try out the HM20. It's a great IM for the asking price. But it's not going to appeal to most audiophile people. It's more along the lines of casual listening, fun listening, and like really stellar, like, get stoned and like listen to things whiz past your head, while you're listening to dubstep or EDM or whatever. Though these are that kind of IM. So, but anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it was long. I know it was rambly. I'm sorry. I'll try to... Next video, I promise, I'm going to try to edit it and include timestamps and stuff. Get a little bit more creative. Right now, I'm just catching up. I'm kind of like getting back into the mood of like making content and stuff. I had to take a break there for a while because I was super burnout. But yeah, so I'm back, and I'll catch you guys later. Hope you have a good one. Peace.